Welcome. I am the Mighty Upsaya. I'm here to show you a build order opening that I find a lot of success with at my level of play on the ladder. In North America, I regularly reach the low Grandmaster ranks, and that's my disclaimer for the skill level that I play at. Welcome. This is the 12 Pylon opener. I have the build order written out for us up to a specific point. And when we get to the specific point where I kind of diverge from where the build order ends, then I will explain my thought processes and the different things that you can try and do. So we start off with setting our camera hotkey locations. That's a pretty normal thing. You don't know what camera hotkey locations are. That's an entirely different video. So your pylon here, it's very important when you're doing this that the pylon starts as early as possible. I'm going to go back and I'm going to show you that it could have started even earlier. Right? So let's look at exactly when I reach 100 minerals. So we can start the pylon at 7 seconds. So this is very important for when you're doing this because you're cutting probes. So it's very important that it happens as quickly as possible. So you make the pylon, you make one probe, and you don't chrono boost. And then you halt probes again, you make your gateway. Now we build a probe and we chrono boost. 15 supply, we make the gas geyser. Continue to build probes, continue to build probes. When our gateway finishes, we're going to make our Cybernetics core. Remember, when your gas finishes, do not put workers into the gas, rally workers into the gas. We cannot afford to hurt our mineral income. 18 supply. Cybernetics core starts. We send a probe down to the natural. We start the Zealot in case we're being engineering bay blocked. So we come down here. If there's an engineering bay or a bunker being built, we finish the Zealot. We let the Zealot go down there and deal with that. If there's not an engineering bay block, then we build the Nexus. I send my probe over here to scout some proxy locations for common areas for proxy racks to be at. Very important. This is a mistake that I made with the build. I have it written in the build order properly. You make your second pylon first, and then you make your second gas. I'll explain why here in a moment, because we chrono boost my first Adept, and I'm going to be supply blocked for just a couple of seconds when my second Adept is supposed to be building, but every moment counts when you're doing this. See, we're supply blocked right now for about 3 seconds, right? It doesn't seem like a big deal. It's a big deal. Make the second pylon before you make the second gas. And then you chrono boost the second Adept as well. So my Adept meets him in the middle of the field. We just run straight across. You can't afford to hesitate with the first Adept. It needs to go across the map. You need to hit the shade every time it comes off of cooldown. So I made my Twilight Council. We come here. We're delaying his CC. This is great for us. This is great. We don't need to do any more damage. We don't need to force damage. I see the reactor on the factory. Normally what you do is you wait around for the units to finish on the factory, and then you leave. So right now, I should leave with my Adepts. I've made my second and third gateway. We're continuing probe production. Right now, I make a mistake because I'm controlling my Adepts a little too much, and I delay my robotics facility for a long period of time. So we start Glaives, and then we make the Robo. Very important that your Robo starts earlier than mine did this game. It's like a really big mistake. You find build order mechanic orders or build order mechanical mistakes in the early game here. You really got to focus in on those. Every little second counts with this build. I'd also like to note that after you pause production for the gateway and the Nexus, you never pause probe production ever again for the rest of the game. So it seems like an uneconomic opener, but it's actually very economic. So my Robo starts here, my third pylon comes down. I saw the Hellions, so I make a shield battery. If you go to their base and they have a reactor on a barracks instead of the factory, you're not going to build this shield battery. You won't need it. So right now I should be getting my first Warpin of units, but I'm very distracted by these Hellions. So just remember, about 4 minutes, that's when your first Warpin of Adepts happens. So we're going to see me deal with this. I lose a couple probes, so everything's getting a little different here, right? Generally, what happens is at 4 to 5 minutes, you need to decide for yourself, do I want a fast third base, or do I want fast Colossi tech? At this point, I decided for myself that I wanted a fast third base. In the game that I link of SOS versus TY in the description of this video, SOS opts to go for a very early forge and Colossi tech off of 2 bases. So if you want to see that transition specifically, please watch that video. It's very good and it'll help you a lot. But being me, I do what I want to do. So I make a faster third base. I get my second Warpin of Adepts. I've dealt with the Hellions. I move across the map. Generally, if you don't see the reactor on the factory and you don't see Hellions with your first Adept scout, you'll warp in with your first Warpin and then you'll leave then. I waited for my second Warpin because I was dealing with the Hellions. So right now, you see I have a lot of gas banked up right now. So that means that I don't have like a real strong plan for my gas bank. If you watch the games of SOS versus TY, SOS is a really strong plan for his gas. So I like to show this part of the replay specifically to show off the strength of the Adepts. This is just like 8 Adepts. This is just 8 Adepts. And I just wreck an equal supply army with equal resources spent on his army. I just kind of wreck him. From your Robo, you build a Prism first, and then you make 3 observers. You want to make minimum 3 observers out of your Robo. It's pretty important. So you see I have like 600 minerals right now. I don't have a forge. I should be starting the robotics bay, or I should be starting forges. So I like to take that fast early third base, and then I like to bring all my 5 gateways online so that I'm at 8 gateways, and I just like to really, really heavily lean on the Terran player, try to make something happen. I go for blink, making my observers. We're getting ready. I fly past his liberator here. So the reason I have so many Adepts right now is because I knew that I could commit to further warp-ins of my Adepts with my Warp Prism. If you get to his base over here with your first Adepts and you see a reactor on the racks instead of the factory, your second Warpin really needs to be 3 Stalkers at home. My second Warpin was 3 more Adepts, so that I had 9 Adepts. I lost one of my first, so it was only 8 when I got over here. But if you see a reactor on that barracks instead of on the factory, you really need to make the Stalkers at home, because it's definitely going to be a medevac-based 1-1-1 aggression. So you see, I just shade in here, and I just lean on my opponent. This is a 5400 MMR player on North America. My Terran opponent is a 5400 MMR player. So if you're in the lower leagues, if you're Masters 2, Masters 3, if you're Diamond, if you're Platinum, this build will work really well for you if you actually execute it properly. Terran players are not going to be prepared for you to have as many units as you have during this time and period of the game if you open like this.
The enemy threatens your
The reason that he had so few units is because he's committing to try and harass me at a time when I've got 16 Adepts in his base. So the game's really messy at this point, but I hope that this showcased the strength of the 12 Pylon opener and how much you can lean on the Terran player and really force the aggression in your favor so that you're really setting the tempo of the game. But I'm gonna link that SOS vs TY VOD in the bottom. It'll be time-stamped so that you can see the whole thing. I really, really hope that you enjoyed this content, and I hope that you can go watch that VOD as well to see the Colossi transition instead of the early third base transition. And please hook me up with a subscribe. If you enjoy this, please check out my Twitch channel, Hupseya. Please check out my Twitter, Hupseya. All of it's the same. We're here for you. If you need help, please leave comments, and I will read everything. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.